Well, thank you for that introduction, Cliff, and thank you everyone who's tuning in to join Bob and I to kind of give you an update on the most recent legislation that's come out in response to the coronavirus pandemic. And as you probably are aware, this legislation has been coming out in a very unique time, and it is been difficult for businesses to kind of keep track with it. So we really want to take this time to kind of give you a general overview of what's been going on that's impacting both employers and individuals alike. I'm going to skip our introductions real quick and just move on to what our goals for today is. First, we want to give you an overview of the FFCRA, also known as the Families First Coronavirus Response Act. And second, we want you to kind of have a nuts and bolts understanding of the Coronavirus Aid, Relief, and Economic Securities Act, also known as the CARES Act, which has two critical components in it: the Paycheck Protection Program, the PPP loans, and also the expansion of unemployment benefits. And right now, both of those areas are still in flux, as we've learned that the Congress is currently debating on whether they want to expand both the PPP loan program and as well the unemployment benefits. So I want to start with the FFCRA. And I think it's really important to start with the framework that we had before the pandemic actually started. And I know it's kind of hard to think back to what our life was like just a few months ago before the coronavirus. But before COVID-19, neither federal law or Texas law required employers to provide any paid sick leave to employees. Now, there was some movement in Texas, in Austin, San Antonio, and Dallas, where local legislation was enacted to provide paid sick leave to employees. But of course, that faced several legal challenges that have remained unresolved at this point. We did have one federal law in place, and that was the Family Medical Leave Act that provided 12 weeks of unpaid leave for qualifying events. However, with the existing framework, it really wasn't enough to address some of the unique concerns presented by COVID-19. So Congress enacted additional legislation, of course, the FFCRA. The FFCRA was signed by President Trump on March 18th, 2020, and it went into effect on April 1st. The act requires certain employers to provide employees with paid sick leave or expanded medical and family medical leave for specific reasons related to COVID-19. Right now, the act is set to expire on December 31st, 2020, and we'll see whether that act gets expanded depending on the status of COVID-19 in our country. So we want to start with the basics. So which employers are actually covered under the FFCRA? And this includes employers with fewer than 500 employees. And so really what we're looking at are kind of the smaller businesses when we're talking about paid sick leave. Now, small businesses with fewer than 50 employees may qualify for an exemption. And essentially what those small businesses have to demonstrate is that the providing the paid benefits under the FFCRA would jeopardize the financial viability of the entity as a going concern. The Department of Labor has issued some additional explanation as to what that would mean in order to provide that exemption. Essentially, however, these businesses aren't required to submit anything to the Department of Labor to make this election. However, they do need to be prepared to identify the reasons why they would be unable to provide the leave benefits under the FFCRA. So really, what did the FFCRA change? Well, there's three main things. Number one, it enacted the Emergency Paid Sick Leave Act. And second, it amended the Family Medical Leave Act that originally only provided for unpaid leave to include now paid leave for certain reasons. And then also it created a tax credit for employers who were providing the benefits under the FFCRA.